This week on Game of Thrones, Sam gets seasick.
What's up, Nerds and Zeros? I'm Mike, and this is Andrew from the Earth's Mightiest Zeros, and this is our review of Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 3, titled Oathbreaker. Alright, so spoiler alert, there's going to be full spoilers in this recap and review. If you haven't watched the episode, put this on the tab, watch the episode, come back, and join us for the recap. So in this week's episode, we see Jon get up, we see Tyrion and Varys learn some shit, and Ramsay's still an asshole. What'd you think of this episode?
I thought it was pretty good. I liked it quite a bit, actually. I was at the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, too. It was, a lot of stuff happened. And we finally see Sam.
Yeah, Sam's back. Doesn't matter, but he's back.
So this episode starts off with Jon Snow waking up, and we see Davos in, like, a doorway, just like, oh my god, it worked. It worked. And then Melisandre comes in and has an even more shocked face.
Yeah, she's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, and then so she asks Jon what he saw after he died. And he's just like, nothing. Which is the perfect response, really,
and
for him.
then she's like, well, the Lord of Light. And he's like, no, you don't get it. There's no God at all. Like, he doesn't say that, but that's kind of what he's insinuating.
I thought he was going to say, you know nothing.
That would have been awesome.
It would have been great.
David Benioff, awesome. If you're listening,
rewrite the episode.
Yeah, let's do it. When they're asking Jon what he remembers, he calls Ollie out, the little fucker, and he goes, Ollie, stab me in the heart. So then he gets up, he gets dressed, he walks outside, all Pope-like, and just kind of stands on the ledge and looks out at everybody. He doesn't say a goddamn thing until he walks down and he gets jokes made about how small his little wiener is.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently everybody thinks he's some kind of god.
Well, I mean, I would too if the dude was really dead.
Yeah.
And then wasn't anymore.
But gods don't have tiny wieners. So
I guess
there's
so.
that.
So then after that, we see Sam, like I said earlier, and he's looking real seasick.
He's just yakking.
Just yakking it up. And he talks to his girlfriend, and that's really about it.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot happens there.
Basically what you need to take out of that scene is he told Gilly she could stay with him, and now he's telling her that she can't. And he's saying that she's going to go back and stay at Hornhill with his shitty dad and his pretty cool mom and sister.
So next is a moment that people who read the books, I guess, were really excited to see, and it's the Tower of Joy sequence. And it's a flashback with Ned Stark doing some fighting.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of sword fighting.
Basically, Ned confronts Sir Arthur Dayne, who pulls out these dual-wielding swords and just starts fighting like a badass.
Real General Grievous-like.
Yeah, General Grievousy. Is it Grievousy or Grievous-like?
It could be both.
It's either one.
Or it's neither.
It's not in the dictionary. It's a fake word, so it doesn't matter. Either way, they start fighting. There's a lot of ass-kicking, basically, until it's just Ned and Sir Dayne left over. And Bran's like, oh yeah, I know how this ends. My dad beats him. And the Three-Eyed Raven guy is like, does he, though? Turns out he doesn't. Somebody else comes in and stabs him in the back of the neck.
Well, and then Ned finishes them off.
Yeah, Ned just cuts the shit out of him. At the same time, they're kind of suggesting that Lyanna is up in the Tower of Joy, which, based on the screaming sound she's making, doesn't sound very joyful. And Ned starts running up the stairs. Bran wants to go with him and see what's up. The Three-Eyed Raven guy says, nope, you're not doing that. And so Bran yells out to Ned, and Ned turns around like he can hear him. When we get back to present time, we are assured by the Three-Eyed Raven that that's not possible. We also find out that he's just been kind of like living in this tree. He's like become the tree. I didn't understand that before. Maybe I missed something, but he is part tree.
Yeah,
so that's interesting.
So he really is Groot.
It's actually Grandmother Willow.
I have a kind of like a theory. Like, is this like that scene, like her screaming? Is that her like getting, like making Jon Snow? Like, is that what we're gonna see here? Like, is Ned gonna go up there and save her, and then, like, then in 9 months, then we have Jon Snow?
Maybe.
I don't know. So then next we check in with Daenerys, and she's in the Temple of the Widows of all the calls. And basically doesn't really go well.
No.
She kind of is like, I'm the mother of dragons.
And this lady who looks like Keith Richards is in there, and she's like, I don't fucking care who you are. Why'd you wait so long to come here after Khal Drogo died? You're supposed to, like, come here right after he dies. Like, he dies, you do not pass go, you do not collect $200, you come here and emo out with us. That's how it goes. Basically, the former wives of the Khals and that whole bunco group decide that they are going to have to determine Dany's fate, which may be far worse than staying with them for the rest of time. So we'll figure out what happens there.
I'm hoping there's dragons. So then we see Varys basically interrogating Vala, who is the girl who, like, took the Unsullied into her bed and then sliced his throat.
Why would he run his finger across his throat?
So he's basically threatening her to get information about who is behind all these attacks on the Masters. And basically is like, you have a son. I'm not going to kill your son, but I'm going to kill you, and then I can't guarantee what happens to your son after that.
It's like, I'm not going to kill him, but I'm not going to say that he's going to be alive.
And then he was like, if that's not enough, here's a whole thing of silver, and you have an appointment on a ship to get out of town tomorrow.
The moral of the story is, she tells Varys who's behind all of the attacks by the Sons of the Harpy. Cut to, Tyrion is chilling out with Grey Worm and Missandei, having just a boring old time.
Real awkward conversation.
I wouldn't even call it a conversation. He has to actually explain to them what a conversation is, then to just not have one. Then he goes, all right, let's play a game, a drinking game. And they're like, we don't drink. And he's like, fuck, you guys are boring. And then luckily Varys comes in, and he tells them who's behind the attacks, okay? So we have three main groups who are banding together behind these attacks. We've got the good masters of Astapol, the wise masters of Yunkai, and some other motherfuckers in Volantis.
So the important part of this is that they don't think that fighting is going to work, and they need to have a conversation, which brings this whole scene together.
Then we go back to King's Landing at the Red Keep. We're in this room full of little kids, and they all look kind of fucked up, a little bruised and broken. You don't really understand what's going on. And you see Qyburn is talking to them. And he is asking them for information in exchange for sweets. We find out that these kids are actually Varys' little birds that he's been talking about. All right, so that was kind of a big reveal for me.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was neat. If you read the books, you might have known that already. I don't know. I just watch TV. So we found this out, all right? Cersei, Jaime, and the Mountain come down. When the Mountain comes in, all the kids are like, fuck me, and they start shitting their pants and leaving. Not really, but that's what I imagine they're doing. So basically, we figure out that Cersei wants to start using these little birds to get information to stop herself from being overthrown, which I don't really know can happen anyway because she doesn't have as much power as she thinks she does at this point.
So we check in with the small council, and Meister Pascal is basically talking shit about the Mountain, and they think that he should be killed because he's an abomination and blah, blah, blah. And then the Mountain walks in the room, and he's still talking, and like everybody in the room is just like, So Jaime is arguing that he should have a seat in the small council because they're all like, you guys need to leave, we're having a meeting, you can't be here, blah, blah, blah. And so Jaime's like, no, I can be here. And so he sits down, they all sit down, and then the small council gets up and leaves.
Then preteen king sensation Tommen is hanging out with the High Sparrow. He's got all of his Kingsguard there. The High Sparrow's got a couple of guys hanging out. They start talking. They send the guards away. And the High Sparrow has Tommen sit down next to him, and he starts filling his head with all these ideas about how the gods are in control, the gods are predestined, everything is already determined, he shouldn't be listening so much to his mother. Essentially, he's just kind of weaseling his way into Tommen, who is obviously very impressionable. So nothing really comes of it in this episode, but I think he planted the seed for some crazy sort of Tommen-Cersei argument later on.
Then we see Arya still blind, still getting her ass kicked, and then we get a little nice montage of her showing that she is now a nameless girl. So by the end, we see her get her eyes back, and that's really it in a nutshell. It's kind of just like a montage sequence. It's pretty cool, but I'm happy she has her eyes back, and we can kind of move on with her story now.
Yeah, I felt like it was a little bit anticlimactic.
I thought so too. I mean, like, I'm happy that now that part's over because I feel like we've been building up to like her now setting off on a new journey.
Right.
For like season and a half now.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that I think that's over now, but we'll see where it goes.
Then we meet up with everybody's favorite sociopath, Ramsay Bolton, and he's apparently in Winterfell now. He's just kind of hanging out, sitting at a desk. He looks like he's doing auditions for a musical is kind of the setup of the room, right? And so he's hanging out there, and he's talking to Lord Umber. He's basically asking Lord Umber to pledge his allegiance to the flag of Ramsay. And Lord Umber says, in so many words, fuck that. Your dad was a cunt. I don't like you at all. So and so on and so forth.
He's a cunt.
He's a cunt. Your dad sucks ass, basically. And you killed him. And Ramsay goes, I didn't kill him. And he goes, yeah, you did. And I'm not going to kneel to you. I'm not going to do any of that shit. But I got you a little present. Okay, so then he goes to get the present. What's the present? Well, it's the Stark that everybody fucking forgot about. His name is Recon. With Recon is Asha, all right? We see her first. He says, okay, look, this is Recon Stark. Ramsay goes, how do I know? So then, what does he do? He plops down the head of Shaggy Dog on the desk. By the way I said that, I think you could imagine the head is no longer attached to the rest of the direwolf, so that's pretty much a bummer.
And it was a bummer because I really liked Lord Umber in this scene. Like,
yeah,
up until that point, because he's like sticking it to Ramsay, like screw you, no, I'm not going to bow to you, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to kiss your hand, I'm not going to do anything. But as soon as he showed that direwolf, I was like, nope, okay.
Yep. Killed a dog.
You're dead to me.
He's basically saying he's not going to work with Ramsay, but he kind of is.
Yeah, oh, he's going to work with him, but he's not going to respect him.
Neither of them want to have Jon or wildlings in Winterfell. So they have a common enemy there.
All right, so the episode ends at Castle Black, and we see Jon Snow grab his sword and head outside, and all the people who stabbed him are on blocks with nooses around their necks. Basically asks them for any last words, and one first guy is like, you shouldn't be alive. He's like, it's not right. And Jon Snow's like, but neither was killing me.
What a fucking boss. Next guy on the rope is Alistair Thorne, the former commander of the Night's Watch, and he goes through this really self-important diatribe about, oh, well, if I knew this is how it was going to happen, I would have done it all again. I would have made the right choice twice. And Jon's just kind of like,
bye. So then next he gets to Ollie, and this was a moment that basically the whole episode we were waiting for, and he just stares at Jon, and I thought for a second Jon wasn't going to do it. I thought there was going to be like somebody else was going to have to come in and do it or something, because that's kind of happened before. But he doesn't. Jon Snow cuts the rope, boom, and they look real dead real quick.
Oh yeah, the camera goes right back on Ollie and his little bitch face, and he's just like, and it's just like, yes. I wanted Jon to just stab the shit out of him and then hang him for good measure, but he didn't do that.
So then he goes to Ed and hands him his coat and is like, Castle Black is yours.
And Ed's like, what?
And Jon Snow just goes, my watch has ended.
Boom.
It was awesome.
End scene.
Yeah. It was a great way to end the episode.
Yeah, it really was. The one-liners in this episode, just like one after another, killing it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I really liked it. And once again, I really have no idea where we're going from here.
No, shit's getting crazy. And the next week on Game of Thrones little preview doesn't say anything.
No, that's like the one thing with this season so far is like I really don't know what's going to happen in the next episode.
Yeah, it's impossible to guess.
It's awesome. It's been really great so far.
So what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's been great so far? Let us know down below
in the comments. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel if you want more videos like this. Next week, there's going to be 2 guys filling in for us because both of us will not be able to be here, but we will be back the next week after that. Be sure to check out our website too, earthsmightiestzeros.com, and our watch has ended. Oathbreaker.
The moral of that theme...
Awesome.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
Too real.
That was too real.